Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Tim, travel and football vagabond. We're here today at Deepwater Point, which is about 11 minutes from South Perth. Another beautiful spot, as you can see. So I'm with my good friend, my good coaching buddy and football player, Sam.
Hey, how's it going?
And today's video, we're going to talk. I'm going to ask Sam a few questions. He's going to give me his experiences and to date with his football, because he's spent a lot of his life. In fact, he'll perhaps say to you how long he's been here, growing up in Perth, and his experiences on football in Perth, how he feels about things, and just generally, you know, where's the improvement, if he sees some improvement that can be made. And again, there's always room for improvement. So here we go. So Sam, my first question to you: how long have you been playing football?
So yeah, I've been playing football since I was about, probably about 11 or 12 years old. I played a little bit before that, but I was mainly playing AFL before that. And then, yeah, I got into football because I was like, when I was playing AFL, I thought that I was better at kicking the ball. I was pretty good at like I had good lower body coordination, but my hands are pretty small, and I wasn't good at marking the ball with AFL. And then when we played a bit of like soccer games with AFL ball at AFL training, I did really well in that. And so yeah, I just sort of enjoyed soccer more because I was good at it, and then I moved to soccer, and then it was, yeah, pretty much that's how I got into it.
Fantastic. So when you were playing, because I mean, the other thing as well, a lot of Aussies, they call the beautiful game football, they call it soccer. But anyway, we won't get stuck on that one. But one day, all the world will know the game as football. Anyway, that's just me being a bit daft. So, can you remember your first teacher who inspired you at football?
I would say probably my dad and my family in general. They really got me to like get outside and exercise as much as I could. So, and then like when I was young, everyone was playing AFL, and so I played AFL. And then, yeah, that's sort of how I got into playing. And then I just, ended up sort of realizing that I was just better at soccer, and I enjoyed it because of that. And I ended up moving to soccer.
And did you play on a school team?
Yeah, well, I played on a school team for soccer for quite a while. Yeah, the school teams, they would do probably like, I don't know, 10 games a year in the season, so it wasn't that much. But yeah, I did play in a school team, yeah.
And did you have a coach or a PE teacher that knew about football, or was this a teacher who sort of volunteered to do football, do you think?
Probably there was a bit of both. So there was a few volunteers that would always come down to the football games, and the football coach is usually just a teacher, and they'll sort of just be, usually it's the teacher that's the most interested in football, and they'll come and do the football lessons.
Okay, well done, that's great. Now, the level, do you think would you have liked to have played at the highest level, or do you think that was maybe a dream that you couldn't realise in WA?
Yeah, I would have liked to have played at the highest level. Probably, a number of reasons that I didn't end up sort of playing at the highest level. But I mean, in Australia, a lot of the football is not really at the same level as overseas. But yeah, it's a big commitment, and a lot of sort of a lot of clubs have sort of got different levels around the place, and then you sort of got to, I don't know, I don't really know how you sort of get into it, apart from just trying to find an academy or a certain team that'll give you a go. And the other thing is that you've got to pay quite a lot of money to get into it, and the football is all about enjoying yourself, and then a lot of the time when you got to go to Tuesday, Thursday training, Sunday game, like most of that is travel time, or warming up, or doing a drill where you're not touching the ball, you're just getting to know your team, the tactics and stuff like that. So yeah, it's probably a combination of all those things. That's why I didn't end up going to the highest level.
Yeah, some interesting points there, Sam, and I'm thinking that's triggered a couple of questions from myself. Do you think that the pathway was clearly signposted if you did want to get to a higher level, or was it not really clear, or was it not really? I mean, do you think the culture is strong enough here in WA to go to the next level? What's your views on that?
Yeah, I think you could definitely get a clearer pathway to go to the next level. My sort of thoughts on it when I was younger, probably still similar thoughts now, but I would have just thought, just get a camera, video as much of your footage as you can, try and get in touch with a scout who's got connections, and try and play the highest level you can at any time, and get as much footage as you can, and then just reach out to like as many scouts as you need until you get an opportunity. That's sort of the mindset that I've got behind it, but I mean, there's probably other ways, and people have gone professional doing it another way. Yeah, and what was the other bit of that question?
And then the other one was, so do you think in the culture is still not strong enough for the game to go to a higher level? I mean, there's people that say that, and I think, to be honest, I do agree that the game here in Australia is at least 30 years behind the English Premier League. So, you know, and then back in England where I come from is that there's football everywhere, you know, so there's no, and the distances, again, that's another thing, is logistically here is such a long way to travel to your coaching, and there's a big commitment from parents to get children to coaching. There's not, you know, even though you've got all this beautiful space and you can kick a ball around, there's not that, I don't think there's that culture at the moment. So, you know, one, do you think the culture is here? Maybe you've already answered that. What do you think about the culture, and how long do you think we have to wait in WA to see the standard that we have in the English Premier League?
Yeah, a few things I'd say about the culture here and the football in general. It's not at the same level as, say, in England and a lot of places in Europe, even probably other places in Asia, even South America. But yeah, I think, so Australia in general, probably the weakest part of Australia's football, and this is not necessarily just a professional level, but just in general, is the technical ability. In other countries that play soccer, on average, the technical ability would be like quite a bit better. I haven't been to a bunch of other countries, but the ones that I have been to, I played soccer there, I noticed that the main difference would be the technical ability of the players. And then, yeah, I think a lot of teams these days, they try and play like the Spain when they were in their prime with Iniesta and Xavi and stuff like that, and it's sort of just spread everywhere, including Australia, whereas Australia needs to develop their own sort of style that fits them. They've got to improve their technical ability, but they won't be able to play like Spain in their prime if they don't have everyone with the technical ability, and they can't choose their players. And then you've got the amateur level trying to do that when you've got a very limited sort of choice. You can't just pick any professional player that you want who has all the technical abilities. So yeah, you've got to be adaptable, and you've got to be adaptable to the team that you're playing against as well. So yeah, that's probably my 2 cents on the quality of the football here in Australia. Yeah.
Some good answers there, Sam. And a couple of things that came to mind. Unfortunately, I believe that in WA there's no role models. So if I said to you, Sam, who's a WA football role model you could model yourself off, you probably really struggle to think of one that comes to mind. That's my view. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
And then another one is, you mentioned about Spain and the way Spain play the beautiful game, fantastic. And I've mentioned this before, they were the best team for me in the Euros. And you look at, for example, you look at Yamal, the young guy there on the wing, and he's 16, 17 years of age. And I said to someone the other day, do you think he started to learn how to play football when he was 11 and 12? No, not at all. He was in the Barca Academy there at 4 or 5 years of age and learning the skills and the techniques, and it's just constant repetition. And then the other boy on the other side of the field, on the other wing, is Nico Williams, another one, a young guy. So this is the culture that the Spanish players grew up with, and in Europe in general. So that being the case, where do you think where do you see the game here in WA specifically? Where do you see it in the next 5 years?
I'm not really sure. I'd say it's probably going to keep going as it is at the moment. I don't really see much changing, to be honest. Probably a bit more talent to choose from. You got, like, Australia's becoming more and more multicultural, so, and more people coming over, so yeah.
That's a good point. Another good point, Sam, is that a lot of the players that as Sam mentioned, the multicultural side of Australia is really good, and the players that are coming from England, mum and dad are bringing them over at 6, 7, 8 years of age, or they're coming from different parts of the world, from different parts of Europe or South America. They have this ability from 3, 4, 5 years of age, and so they come over here and they drop straight into the coaching system. Having said that, you know, some of the coaching systems need a lot of improvement, but then again, don't we all need to improve our game? But they then find success pretty quickly, but then it's maintaining that, it's that consistency, and it's going to the next level is not easy, even though the pathway is relatively shorter than it is in Europe. I mean, it's all numbers, you know. Do you want to, Sam, would you want to play at a higher level now, because you're still only a young guy? Would you, if you had the opportunity to go and play in State League, would you do that?
I'd think about doing it, yeah.
And do you feel, because I've seen Sam play on a couple of occasions, and we're going to do a video with Sam and his mates who just play like a social type football. We're going to do a little video on his team. Do you think the level where you are now and getting into State League, do you think that would be relatively easy? Bearing in mind that some players who've made it big in England, like for example Jamie Vardy, he got through into the English game I think he was in his early 20s when he was scouted and took into the Football League. So you're in your 20s, do you think you could break through? Do you think you'd have to work really hard, or do you think if you applied yourself 2 or 3 sessions a week you could get into a State League team?
Yeah, I believe that I could get in. It's just about committing the time, finding the time to do it consistently for a team 3 times a week, and doing the training on top of that, which is just pretty natural. Training with the ball is what got me into football. The difficult thing is going to an actual training session, doing the travelling, doing all the drills and stuff like that. Yeah, I'd say that would be about it. Yeah, and you said, how long have you been in Australia for?
Me?
Yeah.
So I've been here now on this particular coaching assignment. I've been here 12 years now. So I came over with Burnley Football Club. So they had a presence here 12 years ago, and I came over, and they had Burnley had set up in Balga, which is north of the river, and then they had a presence down in Mandurah, the Peel region. That's the Peel region. Then they had a presence down in the southwest, which is the Bunbury area, and then they were down in Albany, which is the Great Southern region. And so I thought my experience there and my time there was like a bit of a bit bittersweet. I think there was could have so much more could have been given to the players that came into the so-called Burnley setup, Burnley Academy. But that's another story that we'll touch on that in another video. And so just to keep this one a little bit with your views and your opinions, and just to bring it, I suppose, back to the WA and the chances of WA and Australian football growing. Do you ever follow the Asian club football? So teams in Japan, Saudi Arabia, China, for example.
Not really that much, but I mean, I've seen a few of the games, like a few of the highlights, and I've seen them play against some of the Aussie teams sometimes when they come over to play, or like when the Aussies go and play there. And Ronaldo moving to that Saudi Arabian team, that sort of was pretty hyped up, so I saw a bit of that. There's a lot more highlights on sort of Facebook now of the Saudi Arabian League, so yeah, I'm following a little bit closer.
Fantastic. Okay, that's really, really good. And then, so with that, then I think as it stands at the moment, Al Hilal, Saudi Arabia, they're one of the most successful Asian club teams. And then you've got Yokohama F Marinos, they're another successful team, and a couple of Chinese teams have done well. But I think the growth in the game in Asia needs to really grow more, and it is. I do believe it is growing, but it's a pretty slow process. But the beauty of football is, you can't stop the beautiful game from growing. So I think that we might come to an end now. And again, any comments from anybody about this vlog, just drop a comment below and we'll answer it. And thanks for watching. And then we'll just leave it with Sam just to finish off with his final thoughts and views on the game, where he sees himself going, where he sees Australian football going in general, and will Perth Glory, when will Perth Glory win another Australian championship?
Yeah, I don't really know. I think Australia's going to continue at the level. There's not really much sign that they're going to go up that much. Maybe they'll get a little bit better over the next few years, hopefully. You said the English level is obviously much better. You were in England for quite a while. What do you reckon is the difference between England and here?
I just think that it's a numbers game, and there's so many kids, boys and girls, playing football over there. It's just so many, and everything's more organised. Yes, at the grassroots level, it can be a little bit chaotic at times. It looks a little bit disorganised, but even through the chaos, there's learning. So, giving kids the opportunity to play is really what it's all about. Another easier thing for living in the UK or England specifically is that the distances between the venues. So you could play a school game just after school, and then you can literally get to training at a club 10 minutes away from school. So you can actually, if you had to cycle on your bicycle or you had to walk, you could actually walk to a venue, to your club, and start your session there. So I think it's the exposure to and the fact that there's just more football all the time, which makes it easier. Having said that, it's still hard work. I think the numbers back years ago, it's like 1 in 10,000 kids get an opportunity. So 1 in every 10,000, you would get a potential professional player from 1 in 10,000. What the numbers are like now, I don't know. But then pro rata, this is why I think the potential is here in Australia. As I've said before, look at the Olympics. If you can have a country with such a small population, 30 plus million, and right at the top of the medal table, it shows that the talent is here. But is there enough talent focused on the football? Which is what that part of the question today is. How can we improve it? How can we make football a dominant game here in Australia?
Yeah.
So on that then, so thanks again everybody for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope we've answered a few questions, and I hope you've liked the backdrop there of the beautiful scenery. And remember, this is winter. This is winter in Perth. What a beautiful winter's day again. Okay, thanks for watching everybody. God willing, see you next time.
Cheers.
Thank you.